Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a trading card game with so many decks to choose from. Players have lots of choices, from structure decks to constructing your own decks. Players try to take their deck to the top. But with so many options, how do you decide? In this series, I'll be taking 3 Albaz structure decks and upgrading the deck every week with $20 to try to make the most competitive deck out there. And to take this to the top of the competitive scene to show everyone out there that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is able to be played on a budget and you can go at your own pace. Throughout the series, we'll be covering a bunch of different variations of the deck to help us get to the top. Stay tuned because this is branded budget. So for this episode here, we're going to get 3 cards. We're getting an Ad Libitum of Despia, Dramaturge of Despia, and the Aluber, which totals out to 11.17. So we'll round that up to, we'll round it down to $11. So we're spending $11 today, which leaves us with a $9 profit. And yeah, I'll see you when the cards come in. And here we're back from scratch. Let's go over the deck. We're still playing the 3 Fallen of Albaz. He's our Heart and Soul deck. We need to play him, and we're playing a grind game, so we are playing 3 because we need it. For his friends, we're playing 2 Mercurier and a kit. We did bump up to 2 Alubers, so we did take out 1 kit. This card still comes up as like our 3rd Aluber, or even Search Off Lost, which we are now playing. We did cut a lure, so we're still trying to play these 2. We're not playing the Albion, so we're trying to cut 2 so we can search with Branded Lost during our opponent's turn as well. Now for the Despia cards, we are playing the 2 Aluber now. Helps consistency and search for the branded spells and traps. We are playing the 2 Tragedy. Once again, we cut down a Layer of Darkness, so we cut down one of these, and this just is going to help us a lot more with setting our branded spells and traps because we're playing a slower build. We are playing the 1 Dramaturge and 1 Ad Libitum now. Not much to say about these cards. This card's not great, but it helps us, and Ad Libitum's crazy. Now for the branded spells, we are playing the 3 Branded Fusion. Gotta play it, Heart and Soul the deck. The 2 Branded in red, you know, pretty standard. We are now playing the 1 Branded Lost. We're trying this out just because we found ourselves getting impermed a lot on our fusion summons, and this does help out also the Shadal monsters, so we're going to be playing that as well. Now for our Shadal engine, we are still playing the 2 Wendy, the 1 Hedgehog. We did add a dragon just because like blackout and like imperms and stuff like that, we want to just pop them. So we now have a back row hate, 1 Squamata and 1 Beast. Pretty standard. We might cut down to 1 Wendy and maybe add another Hedgehog or another Squamata. We shall see. We're forever playing with the Shadal engine. Now for the Shadal spells. We are playing the 3 Shadal Fusion. Not much to say about this card. Can't ash them both. And we are still playing the 1 Shadal Schism to play during our opponent's turn when to steal us games. And now for monsters, we do play the 1 Fairy of Shadal Snow. Not much to say. Light target for Shadal Fusion and for Albion. So we're going to play that. She's also great for clearing out games. We do play the 3 Effect Veiler for our hand traps. And the 3 Skullmeister, as well as our Lord and Savior Driver and our 3 Gammas. And for the final spell, we do play the Call by the Grave, which makes it an even 40. Not much to say about this deck, or I guess this hand trap lineup. Veilers are great, Skullmeisters are great. We might cut these because we're now tending to go first if we win the die roll. So, you know, if we do open up with Skullmeister, or not Skullmeister, if we open up with Branded Fusion and they do try Ashton, we can Gamma here. Other than that, there's not really much we can really do with the Gamma. I guess it's also good going second if, you know, we should all Fusion and then they try to activate an effect and we just Gamma. But other than that, it's not really alive, so. And Call by the Grave is Call by the Grave. Not much to say at all about that card. Now going on to the extra deck. I don't believe this has changed at all. We still play the 2 Mirror Jade, the 2 Libellion, the 2 Albion, and the 1 Brigand. Still searches for our Tri-Brigade. If we do cut down the Tri-Brigade monster and maybe the Lost, we might put in a Titaniclad instead for the OTKs, but for now we're playing with this. For the Shadals, we're playing the 2 Construct, the 2 Winda, the 2 App Cologne. Not much to say about this engine, you know, 2, 2, and 2. We end up probably going to use Construct more lately because, you know, we are able to send the aerial and Construct's getting really good, I find personally. And we're playing the 2 Guardian Shimera and Draco Stapelia. Construct's kind of like a underrated target. Like, if you just make it, some people can't out it. It's really bad against Despia though, so we're not going to make it versus that deck. Now for the side deck. We started playing the 3 Super Polys. It's not coming up as much right now because we don't have some of the Despia fusions, but eventually it'll be really good. We are playing the 1 Token Collector. You know, might as well. We play Sword Soul pretty much every week, and if we do end up getting this in our opening hand or even during the turn, it just keeps coming back, so it's really good. We just hope that we see it. We are playing the 1 Neo Shadal Aerial, the 2 Twin Twisters, out of Flandre's Hate, and 3, there can only be 1, as well as 3 Dark Ruler No Mores. Going first, going second, Despia, Sword Soul. This is for like any deck that, like, even Despia is really good against. You can also use versus Therion, ABCs, and what's the other deck that we were thinking about using that against? Obviously Eldlich. We don't see much Eldlich, but once we do, we'll be prepared for it. And this is just really good against Flandre's, as well as, I guess these 3 can be used versus Sword Soul. So that's it for our main deck. I will see you in the games. And here for what we took out, we did take out the 3 Allure of Darkness. Our locals was playing a lot more Droll lately, so we did take it out for that because we don't want to lose to Droll, which does include the Tragedy here. We don't need 3 of them. We did take out the 1 Hedgehog for the Dragon, just, you know, try to swap it up, figure out what ratio works best for us. I've mentioned earlier, we took out the kit. We got another Aluber, so we don't need it. And for the side deck, we did take out the Pankratops for the a lot better Token Collector. We never found ourselves siding this in, so we just threw it out because not worth it. But yeah, Allure of Darkness might come up in the future, but for now, it's going in the binder. So here we're just opening up our OTS pack. We do see a holo. Let's get the camera in there. So we know that's a Fusion Destiny. Woo! Let's go! So here we're just hopping into game 1. Here we have Thomas and me playing my from scratch deck. He today is playing Dragon Link, so it's different than his usual Punk Orcust or his, as you guys see on the channel all the time, him playing Sword Soul. But yeah. Not many people at locals today. There's probably about like 16 of us. There's 16 of us. We're doing 3 rounds as usual. And I believe that he goes first. He normal summons a Tracer. Then he goes Striker Dragon. Here he adds the Boot Sector Launch off Striker Dragon here. And then he activates the effect of Striker Dragon to attribute itself to add back. Plays Boot, special summons Chaser effect, pops Boot. I respond with Gamma here. He hits him with the Ash. Gamma will still stay in hand, so I can use it for a later date. He summons out the Recharger from deck. And then he Sync Zeroes off into Pepega Ruler, which he forgot that I had the Gamma for it, so it just hits it with Gamma. And then he has to pass. He has no Lights Engraved, so he's not able to reborn it or nothing. So there's not really any extender there. I set 1 card and pass as well. Or set 2 cards and pass as well. My hand's full of hand traps, I'm not able to do much. He's not able to find another starter, so we're just going to pass here for a few games. He does open Chaos Space here, which is pretty big because it enables him to discard Nib, which is obviously dead, to search for the Call by the black. I then Call by the Grave on res, then the light target in grave, so he's not able to special summon the black or the Pepega Ruler. That forces him to pass. So here I draw for turn, set the monster, Already had a monster set, so I set another monster here and I pass again. He draws for turn. 7 cards in hand, so we also discard 1 card, which is Driver. I flip up Wendy, activate her effect, special summon 1 Shaddoll monster from my deck. Here I flip down Beast that I special summoned off Wendy. Just checking my extra deck, seeing if there's any targets I can summon. I don't think that... then I normal summon the Albaz here. I can't use my own monster as fusion material with it, so I just enter battle phase and attack. Which puts him down to 47. Just trying to read it there. He passes, or I pass to him. He activates Quick Launch. I chain Schism to that and chain the effect. And here we fusion summon into Winda. Then he has to special summon his 1 monster. Which he does special summon Rocket that's not Rocket Reacher, Rocket Synchron. And then he cannot special summon again for that turn. So it gets destroyed during the end phase due to a Quick Launch. And during our turn we flip up Beast to draw 2 and discard 1. Here he's reading Window. We tell him that it cannot attack directly due to Schism. And he's thinking here. He lets that go through. We draw and then we discard an Aluber. We do activate the Branded Fusion here, which goes through, dumping the Albaz and the Gamma to make Albion effect. And I believe he lets that go. Or I cannot activate Albion effect because Window's on field, that's right. And he just scoops. With that, we had enough for game, so yeah. Going on to game 2, it wasn't really a great game 1. We were just joking around because we were both opening bricks, and the game took a little bit of time because, you know, he's learning Dragon Link, and our deck is pretty slow, and especially when we don't open well at all. And yeah, so here we're just siding out. I believe we go with 3 nibs. No, not 3 nibs. We don't have nibs. Looking through our extra deck, we do see that we did not keep in the Super Polys. We're just shuffling it up, doing a good pile shuffle. And then he's making jokes. And then we're winning game 2. So here he decides he's going to go first. He normal summons Seifert, which is already a better play, getting a black, which makes it live. Special summons the black, then links off into Striker Dragon. Activates some chain links here, so he gets the white as well as the Boot Sector launch. Here he activates Ravine as well. I think he's thinking. He does special summon the white, then he goes into Steel. Activates Ravine here, pitching the D-Barrier, which leads me to tell that he has another D-Barrier in hand. So we don't think we're winning this one. He discards Abso to search. And yeah. Here, I believe he makes Pepega Ruler. We do see he has a Veiler in hand. He makes Savage here to equip the Tracer, or the Striker Dragon, my bad. And sets 1, which we know is Barrier. Here I activate Branded Lost. He's starting to read the Savage. Trying to see that if he negates the activation, will fall off to go to Graveyard. And in this case, we do believe that it does because the fact that it negates the activation. But he lets that go through, and then I normal summon the Aluber. He does Valor me here, so I just set one card, and I should have entered battle phase and attacked over it, but I decided to not do because I didn't want to make him trigger this field. So end phase, he goes to fields anyways. Summons out the Tracer, returns my Aluber to hand, and then yeah. He goes Tracer, pop Striker Dragon, special summon the Rocket. Then he tops deck a Kwaku Guardian, which I believe he side decked in for me, which makes a tuner. Well, he makes enough so he can go into Hulk, and then Hulk effect can go into well, he just go into Guard Dragon combos. You know, Hulk and Rocket make the triple burst. Triple burst gives a zone for LP. LP effect can summon back the Tracer, and they can all go into a Borreload Savage. Or that's not Savage, Spoiled End Dragon, while Savage is still in the field with the negate. So now he has 2 negates, and he brings back a monster. He attacks me for, I believe that's, brings it down to 18. We know he still has the D-barrier, and then at that point, it's just game. He has 2 negates, we don't have a good board, and plus he has D-barrier set, so we weren't doing anything either way. Going on to game 3 here, we're going to go first. Here, I believe that we're siding in the there can only be ones, as well as our Call by the Grave. We're taking out, let me just check here. We're taking out the Twin Twisters in that. So here we activate Brand Infusion. He does not have a response to that. And we do get the Macro Banshee, so we're trying to go for like setting up zombies, because he can't really play without any dragons. So it really like kills the deck. We do side in the Aerial here, which is not very good at all because we had it in hand. No effect for the discard. We do make a Mirror Jade as well as the Zombie World, and here he's like, oh crap. He's thinking about his plays here, and I'm teasing him, saying it's been 10 minutes. He activates Twin Twisters here, which is like, you know, pretty obvious that like that's huge for advantage. Discarding the Seifert, he does hit the Schism and the Zombie World, obviously, and he chains Forbidden Droplets here to negate the Mirror Jade. Chains it onto the Twin Twisters, but he just put Twin Twisters in grave first, but it's fine. We had Normal Summons Tracer going into Striker Dragon, you know, search for the Boot Sector launch. Pretty standard play. Here we have Mirror Jade dead and our stuff dead, so we have just 2 cards in hand. He's trying to calculate his plays here, thinking what his hands are. We know he has 3 cards left in hand, one of them which is Boot. We do see it's a Ravine as well as Red MD. So here he's thinking, I believe he goes thinking a little bit here because he's trying to go over his plays. I used to play this deck a lot, so just looking at over what he can do. He does decide, whenever he does decide to do it, he does banish the Striker Dragon to summon out Red MD. To activate his effect, I read Boot just to make sure, you know, I have to have more monsters than him, and not equal amount. And so then I Valor the Red MD, which doesn't really do much. I could have let him summon the summon whatever he wanted off the Red MD, and then when he would have linked probably into like Seal or something, I could have Valored the Seals. He could have also chained. So here we just activated it just in case. Didn't want to get him any, you know, free bodies or nothing like that. So he's thinking over his plays here. We do see that he has Ravine in hand, so he has like 2 options. He only has 1 unknown for us. We don't actually know what the card is. But here he's going to read a card. We do not know which card that is. He's thinking really hard here. I believe Angus has a question here, so we have to help Angus out. But yeah, explaining the plays that, what he could have if he has an extender, which he does not in this case. Went through his normal summon. He does go battle phase, crash, take the 2, then activate the boots to special summon those 2 back. Then he goes Pega Ruler, hopes that he mills something, which he does. He mills Absolutter as well as a thing, so he gets out his Rocket Synchron, which is definitely like, an extender for next turn, and a great normal summon. And then he gets his black, adds it back, normal, gets Ravine, dumps Rocket. And in here he just doesn't have anything. He does have Levianair, which will get him like a hand rip, but it doesn't do enough. He's just trying to see what he can do here to like make a board, but he doesn't have enough time to we're getting close to time here, so he doesn't have enough to go in game. He does make the IP, gets out the white, so now we know he has white as well as Levy in hand. He banishes 3 darks to return my card from hand back to deck. I don't even think it was live, so we like that. And then he does activate Unicorn here, pitching the white that he added back from hand. And we do chain the Mirror Jade here to dump Albion Engrave. It's already negated, so it doesn't really do anything, but it does get the Albion Engrave that we can activate, so it gives us the advantage here because we're both down to 0 cards. He's trying to see what he could do. And then he realizes that he can make a dark to add back the Albion, but Albion was not summoned properly, so he's just like, ah, damn it. But yeah, Albion effect will set to the Branded Fusion, I believe that was. We activate Branded Fusion, sending Albaz as well as Beast because we had Snow in hand. Beast with the draw card. We discard the Snow. And then we make a Mirror Jade here, we attack for game, and he just realizes that it's time to scoop. So here we won our first round, so now we're playing our second round versus Jason. Kind of funny that we do play all 3 Sword Soul players today, but only one of them is playing Sword Soul, which is in fact going to be Jason here. So we have our weekly match of Sword Soul versus Despia. He's on the channel pretty much every week, so shout out to you, Jason, for being a good sport. We're just shuffling up our decks here and have the dice roll. And he wins. So he's going to decide to go first. He's going to start off by summoning Ashuna, linking into Monk, as well as special summoning Adhara. Using Ashuna special summon the Vishuddha to go into Abaxia here, I think here, and he's going to activate the Abaxia targeting the Monk and the Ashuna, or the Adhara. I'm going to Baylor that. He normal summons the Moyi, which is interesting that he didn't, have that already. Start off with that, but going to then link those 2 off into Shaman. I'm going to start off by activating Brand Lost. I'm just reading Shaman here. Normal summoning Snow, which is not a really good board. Flipping into the Baxia and then attacking into the Shaman. He does activate Vessel here. He's going to dump the Taya and add the, I believe that was the water Tenyi. Can activate Vishuddha here to bounce my snow back to hand, flip up the Baxia, and then attack me directly with both of them. I just read over the blue Tenyi because I want to make sure. He activates the Baxia effect. I do Gamma that. Just not letting Baxia resolve this game, it seems. He does activate Summon, which summons back the Taya. Taya effect to banish to summon the token. Then going into another Baxia. I read this card like, oh my god, is it not once per turn? He banishes the Adhara to get back the Ashuna. He gets out Chizou here. He did shuffle back both of my my Gamma and my Driver into the deck. And I believe here I just scoop. We are definitely siding in that token collector. You know, we only have one, but if we see it, it's going to be great because it just keeps coming back. So you only really need one, but you need to see one. So we definitely want to see it. You'd think for the amount that I've seen Sword Soul on the channel, that I'd be better at knowing their names as well as what their effects do and be able to keep up. But they're all very confusing. All of the worms looking pretty much yellow worm things. Maybe I'll do a learning Sword Soul guide. Just starting with like the basic Sword Soul and just like slowly building up. I don't know if people would be interested in that. Just drop down in the comment section below if you would. Could be fun. Or if there's another decks here you want me to do that with, I can definitely try to learn them or pick them up. Here we're going to go into game 2. We're going to go first, I believe. We were going to normal summon the Aluber, which is already better. Adding the Brand Infusion. Activate Brand Infusion. No Ash, so we're happy. Checking our hand out. Dumping the Tragedy to search for, that Despia card. Summon Lubellion. Lubellion will pitch the Meister. We had another Meister in hand, so that's the reason why we pitched it. But we probably should have kept it in theory, because I know what goes on with a duel. Tragedy is going to search a Dramaturge, and we're going to make our Mirror Jade here. We're going to set one card as well as pass. So here Jason's going to start off with a Raigeki, which is kind of crazy. We don't have any spell negates in the deck. Despia itself doesn't have any spell negates. So we're going to activate Mirror Jade here, just trying to get, any resources. And then we'll banish the Aluber. Then we'll get Mirror Jade effect in graveyard. We sent the Brigands because we want to special summon the Albaz during the end of the turn to remove or stop one of its negates. Here he goes Ashuna. We do Meister that one. Then he goes Pile of Desires, draw 2. He does summon the Vishuddha, go into second monk. Activate Vishuddha effect to return backward to hand. He normal summons Moe. We do effect failure that one, so no token, but he has the Long Yong anyways. So he makes the evil Long Yong, burns me for 12. And then he attacks with a lot of damage here. But it does leave me down to 200, I believe. And then he does forget about Mirror Jade's effect. So he does protect with the blue Tenyi, which keeps back the monk. And then during the end phase, I will be adding the explaining to him what about the Moe. So the Albaz, checking on his graveyard, and I add back the Albaz. I add the Albaz to hand. So here we draw for turn, we check our graveyard. We do have the Brand Infusion here, so we do send the Albaz as well as the Snow from deck. summon out Albion. Albion effect can activate. We can banish the monster we already sent off of the first Mirror Jade, make the second Mirror Jade. And here Jason realizes that he made a mistake. He could have gone for game by summoning the bigger Sword Soul monster. Then that gains, like, I think it's 100 attack for every banished monster. But we do declare all the attacks, and then we'll activate Branded Red, which is, you know, we go for game a lot this way. He's like, but it can't attack, but we have Dramaturge. And he's like, oh yes, this card. And like, this card happens almost every time versus you. But yeah, and there we go for game. Going on to the game 3. You know, misplays happen, but he caught it during his game. So, you know, definitely is learning and realizing anything. We make a lot of misplays ourselves. So, you know, as long as you're learning something, the game is a W. So here we're just going to side in for game 3. He's going to most likely go first. So we're siding out the, like there can only be one. So we're definitely putting in the Twin Twisters because we're not going to openly lose to Anti-Spell and Rivalry this time. And yeah, here we're just talking and, you know, going into the game 3. We're both 1-1 here, or 0-1. What am I saying? We're both 1-0. I do activate the Meister on the Ashuna that he started off with, but he does have triple Tactic Talents here. He summons out the Moyi. I do Gamma that, but he still has the long one, which is crazy. Burns me for 12, goes for the Evil Long Young because he is locked into worms. Actually, no, he's not locked into worms. So I don't know why he's doing that because Ashuna is negated, or was negated. During the end phase, you know, Driver and Gamma will get banished. I do activate the Shaddoll Fusion. He's going to banish that, and I'll pay the 12. But it still resolves, so here we're just going to like try to figure out what we're going to summon. We don't want it to get banished, so that's like the important part here. We go for the Wendy as well as that one was the Hedgehog, no, the Beast. So App Clone here is going to activate. Gonna go Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, and Chain Link 3 for that. So he's going to not negate. Oh, App Clone negated the Evil Long Young. So here we just draw and set. So we activate Branded Fusion as well, which is crazy. Albaz as well as the, what are we sending here? The Tragedy. Going for Lubellion and Lubellion and Tragedy, discarding the, that's a kit off of Lubellion. Adding the Adlib. Then fusing for a Mirror Jade. We're going to activate Mirror Jade's effect here, banishing the Send Brigands because we do want that monster negate. So we'll search for the next turn. He will protect with the Ashuna here. And then Mirror Jade's effect will activate during the end phase to destroy all his monsters. We're going to search, looking for, you know, that bird. That realized we sided it out. So here we're going to add Albaz to hand, showing him what cards he has, telling him that, you know, if this card gets into graveyard, we are going to search for the Shaddoll, Spell and Trap, and then discard a card. He summons Itaya, and then the Ecclesia out, makes the Baxia. I activate Branded in red here, which is going to target the Tragedy. Using 3 on field, so pop 1, draw 2. Going for the Chimera here, activating the Chain Links. Going Adlib, targeting the Mirror Jade, and then We didn't realize here that, these cards are getting banished, so we actually do not get the search for the Schism. We do catch that, I believe. I guess we do not. Branded in red banishes here. Oh, here we do. We catch it. And yeah, so we should not have the Schism in hand. He does activate anti-spell. We do flip the dragon, which is going to return that to hand. We normal summon the Eluber, and it's just attack for game there. So yeah, that's something that we have to remember. Here going to game 3, we're playing against Angus, our third Sword Soul player, but he's not playing Sword Soul today. He's playing the Eldlich deck, so we're going to have a difficult match here because we do not have enough back row, and Angus is a really good player, so we know when to flip up the spells and traps, which definitely gives the Eldlich an advantage here. We do get to win the die roll here, which is extremely huge, not letting him set up his traps, turn 0. We don't have much, right? Mirror Jade doesn't do really much against his trap deck. We do have Chimera, so that will come up, but, Lord of Heavenly Prison definitely prevents that. So we activate Branded Fusion, dumping a Dark, which is Beast, Lubellion effect, discarding Gamma. We don't need Gamma. There's only 4 monsters in his deck. We do search for the Mercurier here, which is like a better Gamma because we have a monster on the field, which do set up Mirror Jade. And then we realize we already normal summon. What are we doing? Setting a card. We activate Mirror Jade, sending the Albion to then banish Eluber, setting the red and red during end phase off of Albion. So here he activates Pot of Extravagance. We're like, please banish all the Entices. But no, doing the combo, setting 5, passing. We do normal summon the Albaz here during our turn. He's thinking, we're thinking. We just say, screw it, we're entering battle phase and just, attack. He does summon Conk during battle phase. And then Torrential Tributes us. We activate the Mirror Jade again, setting the Brigands to special summon the Albaz during the end phase. He's just checking over, reading it. End phase here, we're going to proceed and just summon the Albaz. This is a defensive character, we don't want to die, so he does activate Sanguine during end phase as well, getting the Eldlich to hand. Then he activates Haquero when we activated our Branded Red, so it gets rid of our target, so we can't even fusion summon or add back. Enter battle phase, beat over my Albaz, and yeah. This end phase shenanigans, setting a Sanguine. The game here is pretty much over. We set a card trying to live, hoping that he screws up. He summons the other Lord here, summons the Conk, gets rid of my Lost, goes for Pallades, and yeah, that's just really game. So, we scoop. Going into game 2, we do have some cards for Eldlich, as you mentioned earlier in his deck profile, but it's definitely not enough. 2 Twin Twisters is not going to cover, like 1,700 traps. I do believe his trap count's like, I think he said it was 20 earlier, so, but just looking at our side deck, 2 Twin Twisters, not going to do much. There can only be one, can kind of hurt Eldlich. They can play around it, but it definitely hinders when we activate it, and he doesn't really get to control nothing. Super probably doesn't do anything versus them. They don't have enough monsters. Zombie World, same thing, does nothing. Dark Ruler no more, no monsters. Token Collector does nothing. Aerial, does something, only if, we're going second or we have it in hand going. But here we send Dragon and Snow. which kind of hurts because, you know, Dragon's so good when he has back row. But we had no other Shaddoll monsters in hand, so kind of unfortunate. We do activate Branded Infusion here, going with the Veiler as well as the Albaz. I guess not Veiler. Veiler is not great during this matchup. We don't have much else to take out, so we have to kept it in. We do go for the Tragedy instead, so we go for the Bellion, discarding the second Shaddoll Fusion, getting the Libitum because, as we all know, Dramaturge has nothing during the matchup as well. Going for Mirror Jade here. Good board if it wasn't, like, you know, Eldlich, but we have nothing really else we can do. Hopefully set up, you know, Chimera. Normal summon the Albaz. We then activate Mirror Jade, sending the Albion, banish the Albaz, and then set during end phase the Branded Red. Once again activates, you know, Extravagance. We banish, hopefully, all the Antises. He tells us we get pretty close. We banish 2 of them. Then he shows me how I banished one of the cards that he never is going to summon. He didn't have a full extra deck, so he added like 3 of his Sword Soul cards. But he activates Lord here, and here I'm just devastated because this prevents his, you know, spells and traps from being destroyed. So Chimera does nothing here. You know, there's not much we can do here. Sometimes they just open what they open, right? So here we go, enter battle phase during our turn. You know, just trying to play it safe, trying to deal life points. We activate Mirror Jade. He here has to think. He goes IDP. I believe he adds back the Tragedy here because he knows I have Branded in Red set. So if he adds back the Tragedy, I'm not able to brand it in red. So he could bring out his Lord and then set the card. Here I'm thinking, you know, what can I do? I say, yeah, you know, there's no point. Chimera is not going to be able to do anything. I'll just, you know, send the Tragedy to grave. So I just think about redeclaring. And I end up activating the effect instead, which is not very smart. He does skill drain me. So that's really bad. And on the skill drain, he does activate the Lord. I attack into the Tragedy here. He does Judgment my Branded Red, which really says suck. Then during the end phase, oh, he forgot to set off of Lord here. He did say the effect, so we have let him set, obviously. Then during end phase, we add back the Mercurier. Not a great card either, but you know. Here we're bummed out, you know, we're not really, there's only 2 of us, or 3 of us here that are 2-0. And, you know, both of them are sitting here. The other one's Brad, so he's, it's like our, you know, big break, I guess you could say, or our first, like, you know, almost real top at locals. And there's not much we can do. It's not like we're playing like a fair game. It's just like we just don't have anything. We do have the Branded Red here, but you know, skill drain's up, so it doesn't really do much. And I think here we just realized that, oh, we do Mercurier negate the Eldlich, which is kind of funny, but it comes out with Sanguine instead. He asks what cards we have in hand. We show him what he knows. He then passes. We activate Branded Infusion here. It doesn't really do much, you know. Doesn't accomplish really anything. And then we do it from hand, Tragedy as well as Albaz. That's not even right. We can't even do that. You know, Albion needs a light. So what are we really even doing here? Definitely a misplay on my part. Tragedy adds us the Aluber. Then we Branded in Red. Target the Albaz. And I think that's when he kicked in, oh, skill drain's on the field. This does nothing. But, it does give us a 33. So we do make the Chimera here. Activate Adlib as Chain Link 1. I think we actually try to activate Chimera as Chain Link 1. He does strike our Adlib. Not letting us beat over all his monsters per game. But we do activate well, we don't activate it. We do declare an attack with Chimera over the Eldlich here. And I'm like, okay, great. Both Eldliches are in graveyard. He does have a Sanguine set. Or Sanguine in graveyard, so we can get the Conquistador on the field. But it's not looking too great for us. He sends the TT to get the Lord on the field. Lord is 35. He attacks into that. I take 200. And then here, I think it's just game. We do add the Branded Fusion here, but doesn't really do much. And we look through our extra deck thinking okay, what can we do to clear this 35, 300, or 3000? Branded Fusion, so we're just trying anyways. We go Albaz as well as Squamata here. We summon the correct one this time, which is Lubellion with the Dark, which we do discard the Aerial. He doesn't have that many Eldlich cards in grave here, so it doesn't really do much. We do take the Judgment because we were just being spiteful. Shaddoll Fusion goes for Construct here. Not thinking that he has the Conquistador set anyways, so it's not difficult for him at all to just pop the what's it called, Construct, which he does do here. Protects the Lord, and then the game is really just sealed. He just has to slowly beat me down. Thinking on what he's gonna do here, he does link all three into the Chaos, and when we just soup, nothing we can do here. It's just unfortunate, but GG's. So we ended up winning third place at locals. So here we have 3 packs of Dimension Force that we're gonna open up. So yeah, the first one here. We have Battleguard Cadlet, Scareclaw, Balloon, Persona Pillow, Part of Plant Triantus, and we got for their Super Liberament Prevented. And we don't really care about the rest. And then we got Mad Mauler, General Probe, Blipsy, which is a good one, Bullion, and a Therion Charge, and the rest we don't care about. So far we've gotten 2 cards that are good, and then those 2. And for our last pack, we got Vivid Tail, Battleguard Cadlet, Hydra, and we ended up pulling a Frenzy. That's a ultra rare. We could play that in the Dinomorphia build, but I don't think we're going to go for that because we don't like paying all our life points and getting Masquerade Burn. But yeah, this card's going to go right in the binder.